Hey guys, welcome back. In today's episode, we're taking a look at Gravity Song. It's a challenging action puzzle game that it seems simple enough on the surface, but is not afraid to change it up to keep you on your toes. So I hope you got your notebooks and pens ready because it's time to break it down. Alright, like I said, today we're taking a look at the game Gravity Song as our indie game breakdown focus of today. Now this indie game breakdown series I'm doing, this is the first episode, so feedback is helpful, but what we're going to be doing is we're going to take a look at this game in kind of a closer, more focused look, and this is just going to be more of a review video where we're going to talk about the game as far as three categories that you're probably familiar with if you watched my other videos. We're going to take a look at its gameplay, we're going to take a look at the visuals, and then we're going to take a look at the audio. And those three categories are going to be the three main talking points of this video to kind of provide feedback to the developer, recognize what was done well, and what you can apply in your indie games if you're looking to make one. Or, if you're not looking to make an indie game, let me know down below what you think of this game and what you would review it as. I'd love to see what you have to say about this one. So first we're going to take a look at the gameplay. Now the concept is simple here, to get the ball to the goal. But what makes it good? There are a few aspects that get looked over when developers start making a game for the first time, and the one that is displayed very well here is pacing. Everyone knows that your levels should build on mechanics established in earlier levels. That's an easy one, and one that you pick up first as you're making your first indie game. But the real question you start to figure out as you're going on is, does it need a dog? No, I'm just kidding. It's how fast or how slow do you ramp up the difficulty using those same mechanics? How quickly do you introduce new mechanics, or do you just not introduce for a while at all? And normally it really depends on the genre, but I think this is a great example of how pacing works. And I think that, as my opinion here, you never want the player to feel like they've truly mastered it in a training session. You want them to just introduce the concept and then quickly get them into a scenario where they have to practice it. And you want to keep ramping it up from there, because if the player feels like they're a master at all times, they tend to get a little bit bored. And I think this game does a fantastic job of making sure the player never gets too comfortable with the mechanics so that they get bored. Constantly shaking it up, constantly throwing new things at them to make sure they're entertained and constantly challenged. I've said constantly throughout this consistently long video. I'm sorry, that was a dumb joke. And one thing that's also clear that I want to point out in this game, it's very clear that the developer had fun making this game. There's little gimmicky levels thrown in here that really break the mold of the game, and I think that really breaks up the progressiveness of the level difficulty and gives the player a break. Like, okay, this one's not as challenging, I can take it easy, this is just more of a fun level. And there are a few like that, like the pinball one, or the one where you kept telling me to go one way, and it was the wrong way each time. If you want to see what I'm talking about, the full adventure is going to be released after this video, so be sure to subscribe and hit that like button to stick around and check that content out for the full gameplay. And with a game this long, it has 90 levels in it. It can be really difficult to keep it going, keep the difficulty ramping up, keep the player interested for that many levels. But so far, I've played about 40 levels, and all of them are unique and fun in their own way. I never once felt like it was just a rinse and repeat thing. It kept feeling like a new encounter, a new challenge, and with the different types of game modes, you have your time attack, you have your hit limit, and there's that trophy for getting the best time as well as having the right number of hits even in the other levels, and that really made it fun to go back, try and replay a level to get a better score. I think that's a fantastic mechanic. The replayability is huge here, and it's also why I think this game would be a great mobile game. If it's not already planned to be a mobile game, it definitely should be, because the objective here is not to have a player sit down for 3 hours and play through all 90 levels. I think the developer did a great job of keeping the levels small, keeping them bite-sized, so that it's easy for a player to pick up the game while they're waiting for something and play maybe 5 minutes of the game, set it down, and then maybe they don't come back for another day. And what they do when they pick it up, they know exactly where they were. You don't feel like, oh, now I have to go relearn all these skills, I have to go back and learn all this story. No, it's right here in front of you. And it's the same thing, it's constantly fun, and it keeps you on your toes, but it stays familiar. It stays that same core fun gameplay. So for that, I know I went on for a long time in this section, but I'm going to give this one a proficient indie gameplay category. Alright, on to category number 2, and that is going to be the graphics or visuals of this game. And as you can see, the graphics are very clean, they're very simple, they're not really in your face, not super bright, but they do look really cool and polished. And so I think the developer did a great choice here to make it match the gameplay that the players are going to be playing and keeping it simple and straightforward. I really do like the added touch of the entire color scheme is more or less customizable. It can change as you go. You get to pick your initial color, which is a fantastic choice. And then as you play through the game and earn diamonds, you get to unlock new random colors that you can choose to implement or you can choose to not activate. And I think it's really cool that the entire level can change and keep it live and keep the player interested in wanting to unlock new things. I also really liked that you could change the model of your character. I was playing along and I unlocked a soccer ball after a little bit. It's like, whoa, I didn't even know if that was an option. I thought it was just going to be cool colors, and later I unlocked an inner tube. It's like, oh my goodness, what other ones are they going to unlock? So I do think that there should be a spot to go back and look and see all the skins you've unlocked, as well as see how many you haven't unlocked, because that's definitely something that's going to keep me coming back, want to go back and master the level so that way I can unlock the new skins and see what all there is, because that's a really cool idea and definitely gives you a reward for continuing to play the game and mastering the levels, which is a huge part of this game's playability. The one thing I will say about the visuals in this game is that the level design looks fantastic. The graphics in-game, the avatar, even the particle effects, they could use a little polishing, but overall they look really good, and the collisions look right, and your destruction animation looks pretty cool. The thing I will say is that while that all looks fantastic, unfortunately it seems like the menus were kind of just slapped in there. They don't really fit. They kind of break the flow of the graphics. I think it would be really nice to see on those the summary pages of how you did on the level. I'd like to see like the stars animated in a little bit better. Maybe make them look a little bit crisper. Now, something that is of note, I am playing on a 1440p monitor, so maybe that plays into a little bit, but they just didn't quite match it. The font just seemed a little too plain, and I would like to see something unique, something cool that blends in the style of game and really brings together the maps and the menus, because that is another thing that a lot of people overlook when they're developing a game, is that you want to keep a consistent theme, you want to keep a consistent flow throughout the entire game, and that even goes with your font choices. Those are just as important. Now, a lot of people are willing to overlook those, and that's not really going to hurt how many people like your game or your star ratings, but it's one of those things that when you give that attention to detail, people notice. You've already given a ton of attention to detail to the level design and making sure your passion's thrown there. Don't let it fizzle out just from some quick menus thrown together. Because I think you got a fantastic game here, and I'd love to see it a little bit more rounded out as far as visually speaking. With all that said though, I am definitely giving you a proficient, because you know what you're going for here in this game. And I think I've said all that really needs to be said, and even the recommendations I gave, those are minor tweaks. Those are not major game-breaking things. So well done here, you've earned this proficient. Alright, and the final category we have today is audio. Now this is probably the most simple one, but is the most important decision for a game like this that's going for the more casual difficulty feel, and that's keeping the background music simple. It's not something that people should be rocking out to the whole time or anything like that, because in a game like this, a lot of times people are going to turn off the audio, so you don't want to sink a ton of time into that. And I think the choice that they made here for real simple and calming background music was fantastic. It sounds great, and the reaction to the ball hitting the wall and causing that sound effect to trigger was a really good idea, because it's really just satisfying to have it happen. And I think all the sounds go together really well, they're really well leveled, and even the level completion audio sounds great. So for this category, I'm going to be giving you a proficient as well. Alright, well that wraps it up for the first indie game breakdown featuring Gravity Song. Let me know in the comments what you think of this series, as well as I'm looking forward to reading your comments on this game itself down there. Be sure to hit that subscribe button and hit that bell so you're notified when new videos come out, and remember, just in a couple minutes I'm going to be releasing the full gameplay of Gravity Song, so be sure to check that out, and I hope to see you around there, and yeah, have a good day, and I'll see you guys in the next one.